All right, back with you. San Diego sports leader. It is the Mighty 1090. So big weekend for the Aztecs coming up Saturday night. It will be the Mountain West Championship game, as you know, 4:30. And then Sunday, the City Championship. It's a unique one. It'll be here on the radio as well. Tip-off right about 2 o'clock. We have some tickets to give away for that, which we'll get to between now and the end of the program. San Diego State taking on USD, the Toreros, at Petco Park, 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. Joining us, as he does on a weekly basis, it's our favorite 10 minutes of the week. He's Brian Dutcher, the AHC, HCIW. The Aztecs are 5-3, preparing for the Toreros on Sunday. Dutch, good to talk to you.
It's good to be back, Darren. Excited to get over to Petco and play a baseball or basketball game.
Uh-oh,
Almost a slip.
little slip on that one. Yeah, would you rather be going to Petco for a baseball game or a basketball game?
I love both. I'm a huge Padre fan. I've got to a number of games this year, and they make it such a great experience. So I'm sure they're going to make it a great experience for all the basketball fans coming into the park on Sunday.
All right, well, we'll get to that in a second because it is unique, and I know a lot of people around town are excited because it's different, it's outside, it's the city championship, so we'll get to that in a second. Dutch, last week we spent most of our 10 minutes or so discussing the decision that this coaching staff made to make some lineup adjustments here, to put 3 starters, or at least 3 guys who had started the season as starters on the bench as reserves. Now, how's it gone? This has been 4 games, I want to say it is, 4 games with this lineup. How's it going? How's it worked? What have you liked or what have you not liked?
I've liked it, Darren. I thought when we initially did it, it gave us a real boost to start the game offensively, and then as it's gone on, I think it's been a good thing. I'm not saying it's permanent, that guys won't play their way back in and out of the lineup, but I think we're pretty satisfied with the way we're playing right now. Obviously, the West Virginia game was tough to stomach, but a 17-hour turnaround playing a unique team like them that puts that kind of pressure, and not only in the full court but in the half court, we didn't really get a chance to run much offense or many plays. They forced us into a kind of, we call it Denver, where we run a drill where we just kind of play odd-man situations, and we didn't do it very well. But then to come back against Long Beach in a tough environment, which also had a lot of Aztec fans, which was great, and get that victory, we feel like we're heading in the right direction.
So at least as it remains for now, heading into this weekend, heading into this stretch, it's unique. You guys have to play back-to-back Sunday and Monday. At least for the foreseeable future, you anticipate this lineup remaining the way it is today.
I would imagine we're going to keep the lineup as it is. But we had a discussion today in a staff meeting and talked about maybe making a change, but I think we will stay as is leading into the USD game.
It's so interesting, Dutch, the way basketball works. And I think it takes somebody who's been around the sport many years to truly understand the way the substitution patterns work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And some of them sometimes are dictated by situation, by fouls, et cetera. So I would ask you, how many different lineup combinations do you guys have? Do you keep stats on that sort of stuff? Like, how many times has this group of 5 been on the court together? How many times has this group of 5 been on the court together? What kind of success did this group of 5 have versus this group of 5? Do you guys keep tabs on all that sort of stuff?
I'm sure Mike May does. I don't see a lot of that, although I'm sure it's kept. You run into situations like at Long Beach. Skyler has 2 fouls, Angelo has 2 fouls, Zylan has 2 fouls, Malik has a couple fouls, so we have 4 guards, and Winston is our center. Now, we never practice for that scenario. So all of a sudden we're thrown in there, we're playing different positions, and I thought the guys did a pretty good job with that. But it's situations like that, as much as you prepare, you're not quite prepared for that lineup. And so some of the adjustments we make are on the fly. Some we prepare for, some we practice for, but there's always that situation where whether it's foul trouble, injury, you're thrown into a lineup that you're not used to practicing with, and then you make best with what you have out there.
Talking to Brian Dutcher, the AHC, HCIW, San Diego State basketball taking on USD Sunday from Petco Park. And on that note, we've probably made a bigger deal of the starting lineup than you guys would consider it to be. Maybe, I'm not sure. But do you have an idea? This is the 5 that you'd like to start the game with. Out of curiosity, does the coaching staff have a 5 that it would like to end the game with?
Usually it's based on performance during the game. If we've got a player out there we think is one of the guys we normally want in at the end of the game, but he has 3, 4, 5 turnovers, he's playing carelessly, then he's not going to be in at the end of the game. You want guys that are like a Ben Perez in the first half against Long Beach, has 8 or 9 points in the first half. And so you want to keep him in there during that stretch. You don't want to take him out. So I think a lot of his time and circumstance, who's playing well at what time during the game, and you want those guys that are performing best in that last 5 minutes.
And sometimes that's also, or do we have a lead or are we trailing, depending on who you want out there by the same token, right?
Absolutely. You want better free throw shooters in at the end if you're in the lead and they're trying to foul. You don't want your most reliable free throw shooters, ball handlers, guys that are passing and catching, maybe not as good as scorers in some positions, but guys you can trust with the ball when you're ahead.
Talking to Brian Dutcher, the HCIW. Dutcher, you're only 8 games into this, so I don't want to fall in love with the statistics and the stat page here, but I'll ask you. You guys have taken 146 three-point shots, and you've made a decent clip of them. You've taken 400 shots, a little bit more overall. My math tells me that's about 35% of your shots are three-pointers. Is that the way you designed it?
Not really, Darren. I mean, it's depending if we're getting zoned. Long Beach zoned us a majority of the game. We've seen some zone. Sometimes we make a point of taking a lot of threes, but then we always get into the philosophical argument. If they're wide open and they come within the offense, do we turn them down? And sometimes that's time and score. Hey, if it's 12 or 20 seconds into a shot clock, depending on the time and score, maybe it's not a great shot as opposed to late. And so, offense a lot of time is like poetry. It's all in how you interpret it. It's a wide open shot, but it's too early. Sometimes you make 8 or 9 passes, they're not going to let you go interior against a zone. You're not going to get it in there. That's why they're zoning. So sometimes they force you to take some threes. So it's all time and circumstance, Darren. We like open threes. We like the right guys taking them, and hopefully we will continue to make them.
What's a good three-point percentage? What's an acceptable three-point made percentage for a basketball team?
I think you definitely want to be in the 30s, 35%. I think it'd be a good percentage from three.
Okay, so 32 a little bit low now. You'd like to see that number get higher.
Yeah, just get a little higher. And I think, we've got guys that are good shooters that have not had great starts, but I think they'll come on. Trey Kell ended up making 4 in a row down the stretch against Long Beach, which were all huge. I think Malik Pope has the potential to be a really good three-point shooter, and hopefully he will get his feet set, get on balance, and start making a few. He's one that has to make them if we're going to be good, and right now he's at 17%. And we all know that he's a much better shooter than that. So hopefully he'll hit a stretch where he makes 3-4 in a row in a couple of games, and that will turn quickly for him. So if you can't shoot, it's tough to win games. So we have to make shots. We have to take good shots and continue to be aggressive.
Jeremy Hemsley, freshman, he's your leading scorer right now. Surprises me a little bit. How about you?
Yeah, I was thinking, he would probably be one of our better players and score the ball, but I'm a little bit surprised he's our leading scorer at this time. I think going in the season, I think people would anticipate that Winston or Malik or Trey or someone like that would be our leading scorer. But like I said, they haven't hit stride offensively. As they continue to make shots and their offense grows, that may turn as the season goes on. And, Jeremy will obviously continue to score, but maybe we'll have someone else step up and be more of a primary scorer.
Yeah, is that his game? He's a point guard, so older basketball fans, traditionalists will say that his number one job should be distributing the ball, not scoring the ball. I'm sure you would counter with Steph Curry and Russell Westbrook and all that type of newfound point guard. But is that kind of his game here to be? He's leading you in assists. He's also leading you in scoring. Is that kind of who he is?
Yeah. We've had great scoring point guards at San Diego State going back.
Sure.
We talked to Richie Williams, DJ Gay,
Xavier
Thames. So we've always had scoring point guards. So we're all excited that Jeremy's put it in the basket. Obviously, he has to make the right play. We always talk about making the right play. And if it's to pass the ball. Don't be shot hungry. But if you get an open look or you can attack the basket and the help's not there, attack and finish. So there's always a fine line as to what is the right play and what is the wrong play. We always talk about making the right play. And like I said, sometimes for fans and coaches and anybody watching the game, that's open to interpretation.
By the way, speaking of Steph Curry, am I wrong for thinking that he once upon a time played at Viejas Arena against San Diego State?
I can't remember if he did or not.
An NIT game, I want to say. Do you remember that? It was Davidson, right? That's where he went.
You know what? One of the nice things about being here 17 years, you forget a lot of things.
Come on, Dutch.
I cannot remember if he was here or not.
All right.
If he was, he didn't put on a Seth Curry-type performance where he had 40. So he's the best player in the NBA right now. He's unbelievable.
Did you recruit him at all?
No.
Did you ever hear of him before he showed up at Davidson?
Probably I'd seen him on the circuit, but sometimes recruiting is so regional to stretch across the country and to recruit him, no, we did not recruit him.
All right, Brian Dutcher's here, the AHC HCIW. You guys are playing outside on Sunday. Game's going to be here on the Mighty 1090 pregame, I want to say at 1:30 or so, tip-off right about 2 o'clock. All right, have you been down there yet? Have you seen what it looks like? What are your thoughts here on preparing for an outdoor basketball game?
I've seen some photos and I've seen some highlights on TV of the high school games that are getting played down there. I'm actually going down today to take a look, so I'm excited about it. I mean, it's an experience. When we played Syracuse on the aircraft carrier, even though we didn't win the game, I thought it was a great experience for everybody. Obviously, we want to win the game, and I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of environment it is. And when we played Syracuse, they zoned us the whole game, but that's what Syracuse does. And it was really windy up on top of the aircraft carrier. We had shots that were curving to the basket. Not too many curved in. That was the problem. But I'm excited to see it's going to obviously be a lot more sheltered in there with the stands and the way it's set up in the ballpark, and we're excited about it.
So if there's a breeze, again, you guys take a lot of three-point shots. If there is some sort of noticeable breeze there, will it actually affect your game?
Well, the way some of the guys are shooting, it might help. I might hope it's blowing like crazy. It might blow a few of them in there.
Right, yeah, tell Malik Pope, keep shooting from outside. Maybe some of them go in.
Yeah, we might turn the vents on in the arena if we make them in the wind.
Will you be wearing sunglasses on the bench?
No sunglasses.
What?
I hope the sun is at our backs, but I'm not quite certain. We may have some tinted goggles for the guys, though. If the sun's an issue, we'll get some tinted goggles and throw them out there. We don't want sun in their eyes.
Yeah,
so.
Everybody will come out looking like Kareem.
I hope the sun's out. I don't want to be cold, so I hope the sun's out and we're all warm in the ballpark.
How big of a game is this? It's the city championship. It's designed here to generate interest in local basketball, obviously. My own personal opinion, Dutch, and I've said this to you before, is that I think you guys, you don't have to play this game, but you do play this game, and it's a much bigger game for USD than it is for you guys. So I'll just ask, you have a sense of what your team is, your coaching staff. How big is this for the Aztecs?
It's exciting, Darren. To play the crosstown rivals, always exciting. Now, obviously, we've had some really good games. When we first got here, we couldn't beat them. Brad Holland beat us up for a couple of years, and we finally hit stride and won some. And even the last couple of years, due to Sanazi, he missed a shot a year ago, I think, at their place, or 2 years ago to win the game. So these games are competitive. It's going to be fun, and I'm anticipating no matter what the records are or who's on the floor, the game is always going to be competitive.
So when the Aztecs take on the Toreros, Dutch, what you're saying is you throw out the records for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it's a bit cliche, but we've had games that have been thrillers and gone both ways. I think a couple of years ago, I remember the games. I mean, Tim Shelton's knees were so bad that we brought in, oh my goodness, Deshaun Stevens, and he had a breakout game for us. That we were down at half, and Deshaun had a great game and ended up playing phenomenally, and we won a close game against them in that one. So I remember these games. They're exciting, they're close, and they're usually a lot of fun. And it's going to be an event where it's at a different location. It's going to be a first-time deal, and it's going to give a chance for the Padres to show off the ballpark, both schools to show off their teams, and I think it's going to be a great event.
Hey, final thing for you, Dutch. Skylar Spencer set the all-time Mountain West record for block shots, 245. Picked that up against Long Beach State. This is a nature versus nurture question. Skylar Spencer, or any great shot blocker that you may have coached over the years, is that something that's natural to them, or is that something that they learn along the way?
I think it's a lot of natural ability, Darren. It's timing. Sometimes you just have timing. Obviously, all coaches encourage guys to block shots, but there's a lot of big, tall players that are athletes that don't block shots because their timing's no good. And Skylar's been blessed with great timing. He knows when to leave his feet. He doesn't jump too early where he's fouling on his block shots. He's the second to leave the floor. So he's anchored our defense for 4 years now, and we're just so grateful to have him back there covering up all the mistakes we make in the away from the basket.
Outstanding 10 minutes today, Dutch. Thank you so much. Good luck to you guys. You got back-to-back there Sunday and Monday, a little bit of a scheduling quirk. So thank you. Good luck this weekend, Dutch. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Darren.